that I want to talk about today is moving from Web 2 to Web 3 with games. And so I will talk about the white elephants in the room. So do you really think Web 3 games, this category, will work or not? Because I personally think there are a lot of problems that we don't want to talk about. Because some people, the skeptics, think that after the X Infinity crash, then these investors talk to us that, oh, this category is already proven that it will not work, or it will take forever to work, so we don't want to invest in you. Or I actually get this kind of really brutal feedbacks sometimes in the market. Literally, over 90% of the Web3 game projects are kind of not functioning, I think. So are we optimists here in the room, or we are kind of not realist? So why do you think the P2E category failed? Basically, inflation and crash? Or were they rug pull? Or what else? So literally, these investors talk to me don't drop the word P2E. I don't want to hear about it. Literally, you get this feedback every day. So does this P2E category never works? Or let's wait and see. So what was the P2E problem before? Basically, this token had inflated and was not sustainable. And then there was a slide down and crash. And people thought this category is not sustainable. So now the mission all of us are having is, can we make the system sustainable forever? Or is it more sustainable in a long-term, short-term sustainability or mid-term sustainability? But everybody want something ongoing rather than having this rainbow crash. So we didn't intend the Ponzi structure before the P2E category, but people thought that we acted like Ponzi scheme in our P2E category before. So now we are at this realm that we have to fight for this, how to call it, misdiagnosed label that you are working on this category of shady Ponzi scheme, gaming, Web3 category. Well, that's actually a subtle reality that these game makers in the Web3 are facing every day, which people don't really want to talk about. So I'm a really harsh, reality check person. So in the Web3 field, what is actually working and what is actually not working? So if I were a crypto investor, I think I can say that currency exchange and remittance are working. And what else is working? Yeah, DeFi solutions are working. At least they give you interest. It's very concrete. What are the other things which is very concrete? Like gaming, because we have actually concrete users. That's really concrete. And what else is concrete? I think the other thing that is concrete is this category of tokens are regarded as assets. And initially, people thought that this asset category will disappear. But it's still kicking and remaining there. Now, nobody thinks that this category of asset category will disappear forever. And that is a really crucial thing. Because before, even a couple of years ago, I get this feedback that this cryptocurrency asset category will disappear, so we cannot really trust you. But nobody gets the feedback these days. But then I think the people in the work in progress is they're working on the payments, wallets, and marketplaces. But then these days, the keyword that people want to hear are RWA, social fi, and now if you put AI agent on it, then investors want to hear about it. So like, I don't necessarily want to use the word in fashion, but I think these are the word in fashion that people want to hear. So what is actually exactly the problem of Web3 games? And I think in one word is that it's not as fun as playing the Web2 games. I think that's the harsh reality. Like the UI UX sucks, and the token model sucks, and high gas fee. And let's not forget about this regulatory issues that people are kind of like harass you for like doing the stuff, and still the project owners need to move around from Singapore to Dubai to Abu Dhabi to Cayman Islands. And it's still very tricky to run Web3 business. So how do we tackle this problem to make it more sustainable? So I can talk about how to tackle this problem in an abstract and philosophical way, but I wanted to talk about how our personal journey was like tackling this problem while making this mega IP game into Web3 game, which is called Samurai Shodown. I have a special attachment for this IP because I used to play this when I was living at the suburb, like mall, at the arcade mall, like a Chelsea Premium Outlet or something. Then you walk by, you buy your Banana Republic or Gap, then you stop by at the mall to play the 2D fighting game, which is called Samurai Shodown. So everybody has a little bit of a piece of memory playing this game. But then, when we designed this game, I personally think that these games are long-form contents. And I personally think Web3 games are a little bit like short-form contents, meaning our competitors are not the other games, but our competitors are TikTok short-form contents. Let's not forget about it. Like, your content needs to be more fun than short-form contents. That's really hard to compete. So we kind of embedded this model for the users to be more engaging, meaning like skill to earn model, which we framed it. Basically, like your skill set need to be rewarded. Another thing is more like you buy a pass of the annual Disneyland membership, meaning you pay to enter, but then you get paid to play and to do the match. So basically, like making this thing sustainable, that the NFT need to be sustainable, coin need to be sustainable, your gameplay need to be sustainable, everything, the detail, every little detail need to be sustainable to make the entire game and user play sustainable. So we kind of thought deeply, we had this philosophical question, how to make everything sustainable. So I think being at a Sui network really helped to pan out our philosophy of how to make it more sustainable, because their approach to Web3 business, that their deep philosophy was sustainable, which I liked about the Sui community. So it's something like the MMORPG is more like this long-winded, it's like watching a movie, like really long form. But Web3 game is something like making this small snapshot of short form embedded in the middle of this long play. So there is I personally think that there's a certain component of certain component of casualness to make the Web3 games for now, for current technology, because it's necessarily in the initial technology development time that the thing that we can do is a little bit more casual than really like long-winded the deep tech play. Like imagine like when we first, the ad game came out, the initial time, everything was very casual game. And then later we could do complicated things. So I personally think that we're in the window of certain components of our gameplay need to be casual at this moment to to play with the Web3 technology. So this mini window of short-form play, we embedded like card match, like P2P battles, and this made this more like a membership and rewards. And we made NFT more dynamic and token play more dynamic. But let's say, I want to talk about more like this fundamental issue in the Web3 game making. So which is easier, making the Web2 gamers to Web3 users? Is that easier, or making the Web3 users to be a gamers? Like, raise your hand. Do you think making the Web2 gamers into Web3 users is easier, or vice versa? So our team's final verdict was that it's easier to make the Web2 users into Web3 gamers than vice versa, because it's just the sheer number of the crowd is just bigger. So then how can we do that? Well, make their first lifetime wallet download happen in this gameplay. So, because making the super mega IP into gameplay is a little bit morally not rewarding, because the Web3 community doesn't like you very much. Because they think that there is this sanctity and idealism of Web3 community where everything needs to be decentralized and everything needs to be perfectly Web3. But that only happens in the idealism. But in real life, you have to tackle with this legacy issues and Web2 users issues and make it bigger. Unless you don't have that approach, you cannot really make your project bigger or realistic. So how do you make your Web2 users first download your wallet in the Web3 gameplay? That's how we approached our problem. So we chose Sui because the speed was great, the gas price was predictable, and basically serverless. And other thing that we liked about Sui community is how their NFT was designed in a dynamic level, where how to manage the NFT within the games was more like interoperability, or like, how to call it, like more two-way. Another thing that we liked about their technology is closed loop token, meaning it was easier to design the token to be more sustainable and like avoid the inflation and all of that. So we launched this game called Britpop last year, which is a casual game category. So we tested our users, and still ongoing. So hold on. So our team has a marvelous background of working for top 10 Korean game companies before. We are basically focusing on using global intellectual IP and use that, like leverage that to make transition to Web3 users. So our shoulders are a little bit heavy because we don't want to basically mess it up for these people who have attachments for these IPs. So the Samurai Shodown has a massive following. So our next project, we're using Gravity's Ragnarok IP, meaning basically you're using Call of Duty IP to convert it into Web3, which is much tougher, but it's kind of like, what is the keyword when we are using the Web3 community? Like, you need to build up the community. Like, you need community and attachments to make your project ongoing. But then when you're using the mega IP and convert it to Web3 game, then you already have community and already people who have huge attachments for this community. So it's kind of like reverse engineering, that you already have the community and you are building up the project not to disappoint your community, So that's like your 2/3 of your Web3 building problem is already solved, but then you are working on another layer of pressure that you have to satisfy the existing users, but then you have to make the Web3 community also happy too. So we kind of find this kind of philosophy a little bit colliding, because let's say, people don't talk about it, but Web 2 community and Web 3 community are two totally actually different groups. That Web 3 community, they think our initial goal was in it for money, whereas Web 2 community, they came here for Web 2 play. So they think Web 3 users are all crooked people, whereas the Web 3 users, they think Web 2 users are just kids and naive. So then there's totally two different groups. How can we make both of the group happy? Number one, that's impossible mission. And number two, literally, it's not possible to make these two different standards of the people equally happy at a certain time of your project play. So in a way that you have to choose one and stick to it, and make a big, how to call it, like to make your audience happy, and then start from there, and then add the other audience on layer on top of it to make the project ongoing. Otherwise, your actual reality check for your user onboarding is disappointing if you are too idealistic. So our journey for making this gameplay using the mega IPs was philosophically rewarding, but not easy. How to make this sustainable and not disappoint the existing IP users who have held on to this technology, or how to make the new Web3 users on board and make their gameplay happy, but also to make their tokens sustainable so that they are financially rewarding too, which we are tackling for this impossible mission. And the journey is still ongoing. So we're using Samurai Shodown for our project this spring. The Ragnarok, which is literally the South Asia's Call of Duty level of IP launching. And Little Legends and Brickpop, we are focusing on mega IPs to convert into onboard Web3 users. And these are our partnerships. So this project is launching in soon, like a month or two. So check out our booth, do your gameplay, and like bring up your childhood memories of using this IP, like this fighting game, and how this pan out in the Web3 community. And thank you for listening my presentation. This deep, like wounded philosophy of this, like I personally think that human nature is not the nature that when you are financially rewarded upfront of your project, then very few people will carry that over to keep their reputation and make the project. Like even like let's even talk about before ICO. When we were funded by the VCs, then even VCs were like micromanaging us and giving us like money, like proportion to the success of our like project, like development. Even then, there were a lot of immoral founders that just ran out and not really built the project after receiving like VC's money. Even then, we had like immoral issues. But then how can you expect like humans to really work hard when they're upfront financially rewarded and keep that tenacity? Like life doesn't work like that. So I'm not saying the Web3 community is a little bit loony and fucked up, but I personally always think what is human nature and what is not human nature. So in the Web3 community, literally, You have to like put your soul on it and try to keep your reputation and not to disappoint the community and your teammates and your buildings, and then to make it more sustainable. And one last thing that I want to talk about is our mental health. So basically, the game community and Web3 community, the mental health, we have mental health issues. We lost so many people along the way while making the project ongoing. And I really hate the word called FOMO, like fear of missing out. And I think we have to do the campaign of JOMO, like joy of missing out. Like why we're in this industry, to make us happy. And I've seen so many unhappy people. So I want to conclude my presentation by saying that let's talk about mental health in this game community and Web3 community. And let's not forget that we are doing this to make us and our happy and our community to be happy. Thank you for listening to my communication.